Welcome back to Philax. So in today's lecture we shall discuss Gauss law. So Gauss law states that net flux through any closed surface is net charges inside that surface divided by epsilon 0. So suppose there is a charge q. So whenever you have a charge q, then it radiates lines of force. So whenever a lines of force hit a surface perpendicularly, we call that as electric flux. Okay, so I have to choose a surface over here. Okay, in such a way that every lines of force is will pass that surface perpendicularly. Okay, so the only geometrical figure that satisfy this condition, that every lines of force will pass that surface perpendicularly, is the spherical surface. Okay, if you imagine a spherical surface over here, then every lines of force will hit the surface perpendicularly, right? So consider a spherical surface over here. The q charges is inside it. Then the total number of lines of force of the surface will be equal to q divided by the total charge inside divided by epsilon 0. So total flux will be q divided by epsilon 0, right? So instead of taking this surface, if we consider a cubical surface, then if we consider a cubical surface over here, then also this Gauss law will be valid as far as the charges will be inside the surface. The charges will be inside the surface, then the total flux linked to the surface will be equal to q divided by epsilon 0, right? So this is the Gauss law, that you have any, if you consider any surface, closed surface, and the total flux linked with the surface, with that surface area, all the surface area will be equal to total charges inside the surface divided by the epsilon 0. Okay, total charges inside the surface divided by epsilon 0. Then the phi is equal to q divided by epsilon 0. Remember, we are considering only charges that is resides inside the surface. If the charges is outside the surface, then we never consider that with the flux calculation, right? So all the charges that we are considering is q in enclosed. That means q inside. Then come the important topic, Coulomb's law from Gauss law. It's very important from your board's perspective. So here we shall derive Coulomb's law starting from the Gauss law. First we shall consider the Gauss theorem, then we shall consider the Coulomb's law, right? So let's start with a simple charge. So there is a charge, so there must be some lines of forces are there. So how much lines of forces I have already taken, cleared you that it is q divided by epsilon 0. Q amount of charges radiates q divided by epsilon 0 number of lines of forces. Now in order to count all the lines of forces into flux, I shall consider that every lines of force must hit the surface perpendicularly. That's why I choose a spherical surface. I have already cleared this one. So let's take a spherical surface of radius r, right? So that every lines of force will hit the surface perpendicularly. If this will be perpendicularly, then the area between electric field and the lines of area between electric field and the area, the angle between the area and the electric field will be 0, because the area also points out in direction and the electric field will point out in the direction, because area is the perpendicular to the surface area. Direction of the area is always perpendicular to the surface. That's why at any point, suppose at this point the perpendicular to the surface will be in this direction and the lines of force pointing the same direction. That's why angle between E and A is 0. Okay, so any point you can choose, any lines of force you can choose, that every lines of force and area at that point pointing out in the same direction. That's why angle between these two are always 0. Okay, so I have to consider the surface. I have to consider the surface, spherical surface. So now I remove the lines of force. I simply take a charge q and draw a spherical surface, which I call the Gaussian surface. Okay, so this spherical surface has the radius r. So let's consider, I have already told you that lines of angle between electric field and surface area is 0 always here, is always a 0. Now let's consider a small elemental area d phi, small elemental area ds. Okay, this is the small elemental area ds, which has which has the number of lines of force passing through this small area perpendicularly will be called d phi. That is, flux through the surface will be called d phi. So whenever you have d phi, then d phi is simply the dot product of electric field at that point and the area vector, the small area. How much area is that? ds area. So whenever E dot ds, then you can say that d phi is equal to E ds cos theta, because A dot B is equal to AB cos theta. So here theta is equal to 0. So I put theta is equal to 0. So it is E ds, and cos theta is equal to 1. So it is E ds cos theta. So it is d phi is equal to E into ds, into ds. Okay. Now if I integrate all this, this is the flux for the small element area. If I have to get all the flux linked, the lines of force linked with all the surfaces, flux linked with all the surfaces, then I will have to integrate it. Okay, because phi is equal to integration of d phi. So d phi can be replaced by EDS. So into phi to phi here, integration to integration here. Now d phi will be replaced by E dot d EDS. Now EDS. So remember this term that all the surface, any surface on this point have the charge, have the distance from the charge is r. So any point on this surface are separated by the center by a distance of r. So if it is separated by a distance of r, then electric field also only depends upon the radius or the distance of separation between source charge and investigation point. So in all the point, electric field is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 r square, 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 r square. All the point electric field the same magnitude, right? Whether it is this point, or this point, all the point have the same magnitude. That's why electric field does not depend upon the surface area. It does not depend upon the surface. Whether it is this point, at all the point on the surface, electric field is the same. That's why we consider the electric field as a constant. So if I consider this electric field as a constant, then I can take it out of the integration. If I take it out of integration, then it shall be E dot E out of integration, then it will be E ds, integration of only ds. Now integration of only ds will be, wherever you have integration of dx, then it is x. So whenever you have integration of ds, then it is s. The s will be what? Total surface area. So total surface area of a spherical surface having radius r is obviously 4 into pi into r square. Now the 4 into pi into r square. So it is, if it is 4 into pi into r square, then you have s is equal to 4 into pi into r square. Now phi is equal to E multiplied by, I shall replace this s by 4 pi r square. So it is 4 pi r square, right? So now from Gauss law you have the total flux linked to the surface is the total charges inside. How much charges are there? Only q charges are inside the surface. Inside the surface we are getting only q amount of charges divided by, that is epsilon 0. So q phi is equal to q divided by epsilon 0. Now this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. So equating this equation 1 and 2, we can get equation 1 and 2, we can get E into 4 pi r square is equal to q divided by epsilon 0. Okay, and q divided by epsilon 0. Now taking this r square, 4 pi r square to the right side, we can get 1 by 4 pi r square q divided by epsilon 0. And now organizing this a little bit, we can get that E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q divided by r square. 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. Now q divided by r square over here. So this is 1 by 4 pi q over r square. This is the electric field. Okay, remember the only way we have get this one as F is equal to E is equal to F divided by q in previously. Now another way to derive this electric field is from the Gauss law. Okay, now at the surface, that means at the surface we are getting an electric field is equal to 1 by 4 pi 0 q by r square. From the Gauss theorem we have get. Now consider this surface, a test charge to be placed at this point P. Okay, at this point P. Now if I put a test charge q dash and it is experiencing an electric field over here, electric field in this direction, then it must experience a force. Whenever you put a charge under the effect of some electric field, then it must experience a charge. And how much charge is that? F is equal to Q divided by E, because E is equal to F divided by, definition of E is F divided by Q dash. So F is equal to Q multiplied by Q dash multiplied by E, right? So F is equal to Q dash multiplied by E. Now F is equal to Q dash and E shall be replaced by 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 R square. So I have replaced it. I have replaced it by 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 R square. Now organizing it this way. So taking Q dash to the side of the Q, that I will get 1 F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q dash by R square. Okay, this is the simple formulation of the Coulomb's law. So I have derived it from the Gauss law. Remember, starting from the Gauss law, I have derived the formula for the Coulomb's law. Okay, so this will make the Coulomb's law. So if you like this video, then hit the like button, and if you have any questions, then put that in the comment section. I shall definitely answer that question. And if you want to join with me my Telegram channel, and where I put daily MCQ there regarding this course, then go to the description and click on the link to join with my Telegram channel. Thank you.